Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of Married at First Sight. This is season 10, and this is a catch up with the couples. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about Katie and Derek. All right, so if you guys are not familiar with the show Married at First Sight, it is a love reality show on Lifetime television, comes on Wednesdays, I believe at 8 p.m. And it's basically where we have matchmakers that are certified counselors or therapists or whatnot from the US who match singles together and they meet each other at the altar. Katie is a 24-year-old child psychologist and Derek is a 24-year-old student? I'm not quite sure what Derek does. These two are particularly young for Married at First Sight. I think they're about 24, 25 years old. I could be wrong or right. They are a little young for this process, but they both acknowledge that they really are ready to get married. Katie is in a weird situation, and I think a situation that we haven't yet seen on Married at First Sight, in which she has recently gotten out of a relationship, and when she told her former partner that she was doing this show and she got picked, he immediately was against it and started to tell her that he did love her and that he's ready to grow up and didn't want her to go through this process because he was scared of losing her, which is such a mind fuck. I mean, excuse my language, but that's exactly what it is. So she's about to get married. She's about to commit to someone she doesn't know. And this person that she has been talking to or in a relationship with on and off for a couple of years is finally now telling her all the things that she wants to hear. And he says it to her right when she's on the precipice of making this huge life decision. Her family's upset with it because they know the guy and they know that he is just nothing but trouble and has caused Katie a lot of heartbreak. But Katie's like, what do? I love this person. And this is the first time he said, I love you back to me. And I feel like I should give this a chance. And we're all like, no, Katie, this is not a movie. I know in romantic comedies, it makes it seem like all you have to do is just wait around for the guy to come around. And when he finally does, you guys will ride off into the sunset. But no, that's not how it works. There are consequences for behaviors. And the consequence that he has right now is that he didn't want to commit to you and tell you that he loved you and do all the things that you wanted him to do. And now that he sees you moving on and you're trying to find somebody else, he wants to come up and yell at me all face. No. So Katie decides to go ahead and marry Derek. Derek's family is not necessarily all on board when this process first starts. Katie's family, super on board. Derek's family, however, his mother, he says, is because she's super Catholic and she feels like marriage needs to be a certain way, which doesn't align with what I think Catholicism is. Like, I don't know if she thought that he should marry someone who's Catholic. I'm not sure what the Catholicism has to do with the arranged marriage portion of this. Derek's mother is right now in Uruguay or Paraguay. I'm not sure where she's from. She's either from one of those countries in South America. I want to know if Derek speaks Spanish. That is what I want to know. And even his mother, when she comes to the States to attend the wedding, she speaks to him in English. His father is not super convinced, but both of his parents seem to support him a lot. So they're just going forward with this anyways. So they're just accepting of this arrangement and they're supporting him. So when Katie and Derek meet each other, they both are happy with what they see. The officiant says a little bit about Katie to Derek and vice versa. And they have their wedding photos. It's always kind of awkward, but it feels like Katie and Derek have this automatic chemistry. Like right off the bat, they can tell that they like each other. They're attracted to each other. They have a really great wedding. They talk to each other's families. Now, Katie's friend is a little saucy, and you can tell that she's a little saucy based on her friends, which I actually really like. Normally, these couples are very reserved and kind of boring off the bat, but I knew that Katie was going to be hilarious. I knew that she was going to be communicative because she's a therapist. I knew that she was going to be somebody who, at the very least, was going to give this process all of her being, you know? And her friend was like, listen, the sex needs to be good, okay? You need to D her down. And I was just like, wow, those friends are really looking out for Katie. I want a group of friends like that. Some of them were a little like reserved because they knew that the one friend was drunk and was saying a little too much, but it made for great television and it made me really like Katie. Okay, so the second part of this experiment is they go to a tropical place together as a couple for like the honeymoon. And so in this season, they go to Panama, and when they get there, they meet the other couples, and the vibe is good. All the couples are vibing except for Mika and Michael, which I've already talked about in another video where I talk about Mika and Michael. I don't remember anything remarkable happening between Katie and Derek during this time. It seems that everything is good with them. In the beginning, I mean, they do have conversation about the fact that Derek says that he's never been in love, which is a problem. And that breeds something in Katie that is reminiscent of her ex, because her ex never wanted to tell her that he loved her either. So it really is a concern for Katie that she has been paired with somebody who's never been in love. I don't know what to really think of that. I've been in love, but it was such a horrible experience. It almost makes me sometimes wish that I hadn't been in love. But on the other hand, I'm excited because now I know the wealth and the depth of my love. And when it happens to me again, hopefully, that I will be so able to give of someone so much. It tells you a lot about yourself when you've been in love with somebody. He says that he's always up for the adventure. He's always up to eating new things, going around the world. He has a large bucket list of all the things he would like to do in this world. He seems like not necessarily ambitious, but he's going for his master's right now. He's in grad school. Katie's about to start grad school, so that's something that they have in common. But he seems rather driven. He's ambitious, but in the sense of like, he wants to do a lot. Not to say that I could see him actually doing all of it, because I don't know him, but he seems like he has a drive to get certain things done, which I think is a positive in any relationship. When they get back to the States, stage 3 of this is that they have to live with each other, okay? So they have a neutral space that production has set up for them, and they're living with each other in this apartment complex along with all the other couples, and they just have to see how things go. And Katie and Derek seem to be going really well. He does some sweet things for her around the time of her birthday, and she is a diabetic, so he's really concerned about her health, helping her with her insulin shots, you know, making sure that what she's eating is kind of in line with what, you know, what he's eating. Like he's very sensitive to her and her needs, which is so great. I mean, it's really great. The problem is that Katie has a very specific sense of the way her life should go and the way people should behave. And so while he has structure in his life, he's still a little bit loosey-goosey. Whereas Katie is like, we need to have kids in 2 years, then we need to do this, and we need to do that, and we need to do that. And that's all surrounding the family. I haven't really heard her say what she wants to do with her life and her career, but she definitely wants a husband who has kind of zeroed in and is a little narrow-minded when it comes to certain things, because she has a specific idea about how, you know, it's going to be in her life, which I understand coming from a woman's perspective, especially when you think about having kids. You're going to want your partner to help you with those kids. And if they're off gallivanting, doing their own thing, you know, trying to fulfill their own desires that have nothing to do with you or your family, then it can be a little hard, right? I mean, whatever it is that you want to do, that's your hobby or your extracurricular or whatever, it needs to kind of tie in the family in a sense. It can't just be something that you're like going to do. Like he wants to climb Mount Kilimanjaro or something, right? But that takes a lot of practice, and that's a lot of time away from the family to get something like that done. So Katie's having issues with that. Also, she's worried that he's never going to fall in love with her. So she's a little defensive at times with him, and he can't quite understand it because he's coming from a place of like learning and being quite jovial. Well, she just wants him to be rather serious. So they have a bump in the road where he makes some comment over text, and he's just like, I don't want to deal with it right now. I can't, like, it's over. They do vow to pick the conversation back up. So later on, it springs up itself again because Derek says that he wants to write a Christmas song. He wants to write a book. He wants to climb a mountain. He wants to jump out of an airplane. He wants to do this. Like, Derek has a lot of things on his bucket list that he wants to get done. And Katie feels like in that there is no place for her because half of those things she doesn't want to do. And the other half, she feels like he's not going to have time to do it if they have kids in 2 years. One of the things that I disagree with her wholeheartedly is his idea about writing a Christmas song. Katie, that is money in the bank. I don't understand why you don't want him to write a Christmas song. If he writes a Christmas song and it does well, you guys will have money for the rest of your life. Okay? People who write Christmas songs, they're all making money every year from that song. Mariah Carey, she wrote that song. All I Want for Christmas Is You, and every year it's a big hit. Every year it tops charts. Let the man write a Christmas song. Him writing a Christmas song is not going to take away from your family or him helping you with those kids. Now, him climbing a mountain, yeah, that will. So if we find out she's worried about those things, but really we end up finding out that it comes down to the fact that she doesn't see herself in any of those scenarios when he talks about it, because when he talks about it, he doesn't include her. So they have conversation with Dr. Viviana and Pastor Cal, and Pastor Cal says, what would you need from Katie in order for you to say yes in 2.5 weeks? And Derek says, I just need her to believe in me, because it seems like she doesn't believe in him. She doesn't think that anything that he wants to do is valid or realistic. And Viviana asks Katie the same thing, and Katie says, I just need to know that he's going to love me. And he's going to stay with me, and that he wants the same things I want. So their homework was to go home and talk to each other about it. And he reassured her, and I think the best way to let her know that even though he has all these big dreams and whatnot, that she's included in those big dreams, and including the fact that he's already put her on his medical insurance. Like, they are legally married, but some of the married aspects, these couples just really, they don't get into in the first 8 weeks, right? Because you still have the choice of divorcing at the end of the 8 weeks. So he says, he has taken that extra step. He's put her on his medical insurance because she's off of her parents, I guess, or her other medical insurance. So, he is making strides and effort, and it is kind of jumping into this relationship with both feet. And I hope that he does fall in love with her. I couldn't imagine why he wouldn't, because she's fun and they're going to grow together. I really wish, though, that they would be married for 5 years before they have children. I would love it if Katie and Derek could start having kids around 32. That way, they would have a good foundation of knowing each other and getting a lot of the things off of his bucket list. Then they could start having kids. My concern is that Katie wants to have kids at 27. And girl, I get you, but this isn't the 70s. Like, you're a professional woman. Most professional women have their kids in their 30s. It just is what it is. And I know from experience and watching people do it that your time building a family together will be more solid, especially because they didn't have the normal courtship, right? It's not like they got to know each other for 3 years and then got married and then got to know each other for another 3 years and then had kids, right? Because that's a total of 6 years. I'm saying that this is 8 weeks. This is 5 weeks into their marriage, and she's already talking about, I want kids in 2 years. And I'm like, slow your roll. Like, you don't know what the future has. You have a lot of your 20s left to live. You have a lot of fun to have. You can do more traveling. Hold on having kids. Your ovaries will still be there. All right. So that's the end of Katie and Derek. I really do wish them the best. I will have a follow-up video where I talk about what happens and the outcomes of this show, but this is just their relationship thus far. All right, you guys, let's have a kiki and a conversation down in the comment section. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you like it, and remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.